startup. So that's what we're going to talk about during the training. That's going to start at the top of the hour at about 12 in about 15 minutes. For those of you that are joining me early, thank you so much. I'm humbled that you wanted to join me a little bit early. And I'm sure part of that had to do with the fact that I'm going to give away a couple prizes, right? So usually I come in here early, give away a couple of prizes, whether it be maybe a Freightpreneur t-shirt, some cash, or otherwise. But yes, if you want to join me for the prizes, great. I love it. Just let's get a few people live, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So the agenda is going to be this. I'm going to do the giveaway. Then we're going to do the training on the sales metrics. Then we're going to do live Q&A at the end. Okay. So that's the basic framework of what we're going to cover today. And again, I usually do these on Mondays, but with Labor Day, I hope you guys had a nice long weekend. I figured I'd push it off a day and do it today. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm back. And today is a very interesting topic. You know, I spend a lot of time and energy, and I get a lot of questions around how to get customers as a freight broker or a freight agent, how to find shippers, how to do freight broker sales. And it all comes back to that topic of freight broker sales. And so I was giving it some thought about how I actually tracked my success and the progress that we made from startup to doing our first $1 million in business, and then our first 10 million a year, and then our first 20 million a year, and then our first 50 million. And, these are 5 metrics, 5 what I call key performance indicators, or KPIs, that you are definitely going to want to measure, whether you're an established freight broker and already have a freight brokerage or a freight agency, or you're a new startup. I think you're going to find some value in this. And that's definitely what we're going to talk about today. But first, we're going to do the giveaways. So we're going to let a few people get live here, and then we're going to jump into the giveaways. In the meantime, hit me up in the comments with the city and state that you're logging in from. Maybe I'll be able to give you a shout out at some point before we start the training. But again, my name's Dennis Brown. I'm based in the Buffalo, New York area. For those of you that are new and don't know who I am, I've been very, very blessed, built 4 multi-million-dollar companies in my career. Back in 2003, I started a freight brokerage and grew that, did over $200 million in sales as a freight broker throughout my career, then sold that company. But I also am the owner of FreightBrokerBootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program available. We've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. So if you guys are curious about getting started as a freight broker, freight agent, just check out FreightBrokerBootcamp.com, or just search for Freight Broker Bootcamp on YouTube or on Google, and you'll find it for sure. Okay. So, all right, we got a bunch of people getting live here. So let me give a few shout outs, and then we'll jump into the giveaway. Not going to be able to shout out everybody, but because I want to get in Cindy Kane, welcome from Houston. Brandon Paez from Miami, Florida. Bob Baldra from Dodge City. Chuck Richardson. Hey, Chuck. Chris Ray from Marshall, Texas. Chuck from Atlanta. Jessica from Odessa, Texas. Abdina from Detroit, Michigan. MMB from Virginia. Oh, Maisha. Hi, Maisha. Mitch Harrison from Avon, Colorado. Ola Moore from Pineland, Texas. VNL Enterprises from Mexico City. M. Anderson from Des Moines, Iowa. All right, so we've got a bunch of people live. Thank you so much for joining me. Here's what I want to do. I want to do the giveaway. I want to get at least 1 giveaway, maybe 2 if possible. So let's get the ball rolling. We got a bunch of people live. We'll see how many we can get done. Okay, so the first giveaway, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it away $50 cash. $50 cash, okay? I'm going to PayPal that to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. 1 winner, okay? And here's all you got to do. Listen to qualify for the giveaway, okay? Here's all you got to do. I want you to take out your smartphone, okay? Whether that be your Apple or Android, whatever phone you got. I want you to take out that phone, and I want you to find the podcast app. On Apple, it's called your podcast app. It's already on you don't have to download it. It's already on there. And then I want you to go and I want you to search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll find my podcast. It's free. I think we have over 100 episodes on there. It's audio. It's the best of the best of the best audio training. You can listen to it when you're driving or whatever. I want you to go in and I want you to subscribe, rate, and review. Okay? Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. and then come back into the comments and let me know that you subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple, or if you're using Spotify or Google Podcast or another podcast app. Let me know. Subscribe, rated, reviewed, and then the platform, Apple, Spotify, Google, or other. You got to come into the comments after you find the podcast. It'll take you 60 seconds. Go in there, open your smartphone, pull up your podcast app. A lot of you guys use Spotify to listen to music. You can listen to podcasts on there as well. I don't know if you guys realize that, but you can, on Spotify, you can search Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll be able to go in, subscribe, rate, and review. Sometimes they call it follow versus subscribe. You know, if you're going to follow the podcast, that'll at least start giving you some recommendations and allow you to start listening to some of the content. And again, this is something I launched, I think, last year, and we have now been ranked in the top 100 out of all entrepreneur podcasts on Apple, which is crazy. Okay. Which is crazy, stupid crazy. But it's all because of you, right? It's all because of you. You guys have been giving great reviews and downloading and listening. So all you got to do is go in there, subscribe, rate, and review, come back into the comments and let me know. Subscribe, rated, reviewed, and then the platform. Don't come in and say, hey, I'm done. Don't come in and say, did it. Don't come in and say Apple. Don't come in and say Spotify. I want you to say subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple. Subscribe, rated, review on Spotify. Okay? Just like Brandon Paez did. Brandon did it. Subscribe, rated, reviewed on Apple Podcast. Perfect. Okay? Deshaun Prater did it. Subscribe, rated, reviewed on Apple. Okay? Awesome. Maisha did it. Right? Subscribe, rated, reviewed on iPhone. All right. So yes, do that. I'm going to give away $50 cash. If you do that, I'm going to pick one random winner and then I'm going to PayPal you that money in the next 24 to 48 hours. All right. So I like to have a little bit of fun before we start the training, and giving away a little bit of cash or maybe a t-shirt can do that. So if we can get this given away quickly, this cash, if we can get a bunch of people to subscribe to the podcast, then we'll do another giveaway. All right. If not, then we're going to jump into the training because I promised everybody at about noon is when we start these trainings. You guys are joining me early and I really appreciate it. But yes, I want you to subscribe, rate, and review on the podcast. Gigi did it. Adrian did it. Danielle did it, or Daniel did it, not Danielle. Awesome. So we got a bunch of people that are subscribing. Yes, thank you so much. And listen, for those of you that are joining me late, I'm going to share with you 5 key sales metrics that every freight broker needs to track. So these are KPIs, key performance indicators in your sales efforts, whether you're a startup or whether you're an established freight broker, that you need to be tracking these KPIs, okay? These are things that I tracked along my growth trajectory from startup to over $80 million a year in sales throughout my career. Okay. And these things will absolutely help you improve your overall performance, hit your goals, grow your business, make more profit. Okay. So we've got a bunch of people that are subscribed. And again, if you follow the instructions, you have to follow instructions. Subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple. Subscribed, rated, reviewed on Spotify. Whatever it is, okay? Whatever platform. Those are the only way you can get chosen. All right? So, all right. Awesome. Kaida Dilworth. Done won't work. If I pick you and you have done, if I pick you and you just said done, I can't pick you. You can't win. Okay. I'm sorry. It's got to be fair. I have to know what that means. All right. So 60 more seconds in order to subscribe, rate, and review on the Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience podcast. You'll see it because you'll see the logo, Freight Broker Bootcamp. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but you'll see my bald, shiny head as usual. All right. That's kind of the part of the logo now, I guess, is my bald, shiny head. All right. So we got a bunch of people that are subscribed. Awesome. Let's do the giveaway. So I have a very non-scientific way of doing this. I close my eyes. I scroll through the comments. All right. Let me make sure I'm on the comments here. All right. I scroll through the comments with my eyes closed and I randomly pick one person. And the winner is Tyvia Schamberger. Tyvia Schamberger is the winner of the $50 prize. So here's what you got to do, Tyvia. I need you to go to my Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. Okay. Go to Facebook, find Freight Broker Bootcamp page. Okay. The fan page, and then like the page and then message me. And all you got to do is message me your full name, your PayPal email address, and that you won the podcast $50 giveaway. Okay. So you got to let me know you won the podcast $50 giveaway, your full name, your PayPal email, and in the next 24 to 48 hours, I will send you the $50 that you won. Congratulations. And everybody who did subscribe, thank you for playing along. You definitely are not a loser. You won in the fact that you are now aware that I have a podcast. This is where I put the best of the best audio training. So what I mean by audio is this is something you can listen to in your car. This is something that you can listen to when you're on the treadmill. This is something you can listen to when you're walking the dog or you're laying out by your pool. You know, sometimes it's just not conducive to watch video all the time, right? And so I created this podcast after being asked many, many times. And it's become super popular. We've got hundreds of reviews. We've got thousands of people that are downloading these podcasts every week, every month. And so we're really excited about it. And we just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it. We're not going to have time for another giveaway right now, but here's what I'll try to do. We're going to start the training in just a few minutes, but here's what I'll try to do. Between the training, after the training, we'll do a giveaway and then we'll go into Q&A if we have enough time. Okay, we're going to do the Q&A. We'll do the giveaway if we have enough time. The training is the most important part of this, right? So I'm going to be sharing with you 5 key sales metrics that every freight broker needs to track. Okay, these are very important. And the cool part about it is they're simple. This is not overly complicated. So don't get afraid that this term sales metrics or KPIs, don't let that scare you. Trust me, it's not that complicated, but it's extremely powerful, right? Here's my notes for today's training. I got to go over these 5 KPIs, and then I got to explain to you what they mean and how they work and how they'll benefit you if you do actually track them properly, okay? I can tell you right now that I'll bet you that less than 5% of freight brokers, okay, track these types of KPIs. I'll bet you. And I'll bet you less than 5% of freight brokers actually track these types of KPIs in their business. That's the reason why some aren't successful and some others are, right? While the smaller number are very successful, but the larger number of people struggle sometimes. And so these KPIs will definitely help you with understanding where you are in your business and helping you to get more shippers and generate more profit. Quick drink. And we're going to get started with the training in just a minute. And again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing to the podcast and for joining me. I hope you guys had an amazing holiday weekend. We had a great weekend, although it did rain a little bit. We had some rain over the weekend. We probably needed it. I know there's a lot of places in the country like that. But September, we're back. My kids went, I'm sure that many of your kids have just went back to school recently. My kids' first day of school was today. And so, they're excited today. Tomorrow they'll be bored, right? We know how that works. I have a junior. I have 2 girls, a junior and an 8th grader. So it's quite interesting times in the Brown household with the 2 daughters. And I'm sure that a lot of you can relate. Because I'm sure you have young families and some of the trials and tribulations of that. But I love working from home. I love being able to spend time with them, see them every day. I literally don't ever travel anymore. And, I have an enormous amount of time to spend with the family. So we have had a great time this summer. And I hope you guys have too. So we're going to get started with the training in just a minute. Again, I said that the training always starts at noon. But if you join me a little early, that's when you can qualify for the free giveaway. And congratulations to Tyvia Schamberger as the winner, the big winner of the $50 giveaway. So Tyvia, you got all you got to do, again, message me on Facebook with your name, your PayPal email, and that you won the podcast $50 giveaway. And I will definitely send you that money in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. So again, we're going to get started in just a minute. If you let me know if you're just joining me, let me know where you logged on from. Okay. And I'll try to give you some shout outs. Daniel Fuentes from San Diego, Faith Crawford from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Where else we got? We got Holistic Logistics from Kennesaw, Georgia. We've got Christina from New Jersey. We got people all over. So hit me up in the comments where you are logging in from, and I'll try to give a shout out before we start the training. Again, we are going to start the training in just a minute or two. And I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, we've got Shabrella Wells from Buena Vista, Georgia. We got Jewel Williams from Atlanta, Georgia. We got Elisa from, where was it? From Elisa from Vidalia, Georgia. Man, we got people, Daniel Fuentes from San Diego. We got Razak Omoro from Toronto, Canada. We got Wanda from Bethlehem, PA. Ryan from Las Vegas. Thaddeus from, Thaddeus didn't say where he's from. Antoinette from Atlanta. Hassan from Minnesota. Terry Carter from Dothan, Alabama. Dominique from North Carolina. Derek Rice from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Samuel from Whiteland, Indiana. Joe Almighty from Florida. Thaddeus came in. He's from Birmingham, Alabama. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I can't give you all shout outs because I do want to get the training underway, and I know you guys are very busy. So here's the agenda. We're going to start the training. Today, we're going to talk about 5 key sales metrics that every freight broker needs to track in their business, okay? Then if we have time, we're going to do a quick giveaway after the training. Maybe we'll give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt. And then after that, we're going to do live Q&A. So if you stick around to the end, you're going to be able to ask me questions in the comments, and I will directly try to answer your questions. Now, I won't be able to get to everybody's question, but I'm usually able to do 5 or 10 or sometimes even 15 questions before we have to close out. Usually I try to limit these whole things to about an hour. So we're going to do the training, then a giveaway. Stick around to the end and you can do live Q&A, whether you're a new freight broker, whether you're a Freight Broker Bootcamp student, or whether you just discovered us somewhere, whether that be on YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is you're watching now. Thank you for joining. We're going to get the training started in the next 60 seconds, and then we're off to the races. Man, we got a lot of people live. That's awesome. Lots of people live. I see tons of people on YouTube. Man, lots of people on YouTube. People on LinkedIn are watching. Some people on Facebook. Holy cow. Man, YouTube is really winning on the streaming side, I guess. Everybody likes to stream on YouTube. So I guess it's smart that I put it on there, huh? All right. So here we go, guys. We're going to start the training. Today, I want to share with you 5 sales KPIs that every freight broker needs to track. All right. Here's the notes. Here's the notes we're going to be going over today. Now, first of all, what are sales metrics? You've probably heard the term key performance indicator, which is also known as a KPI. Okay. So key performance indicators or metrics is data that you can track that is a part of your sales effort that will help you to improve your overall sales outreach, conversion, and profitability. Okay, that's a basic understanding of what these indicators, these metrics, and these KPIs will do for you. Now, there are tons of different metrics or KPIs you can track around your business. And there are even tons of metrics you can track around your freight broker sales efforts. But today I'm going to share with you 5, okay? And these are 5 that I personally used and I personally tracked on my journey from startup and 0 in sales to over $80 million a year in sales with my freight brokerage before I sold it just a few years ago. So, number 1, and these are in no discernible order. 1 is what I call quality conversations. Quality conversations. Now, some people track dials, like how many phone calls they made. I prefer to track quality conversations. Now, quality conversations in my opinion, the definition of that is you've built rapport, okay? You've gathered some sales intelligence, and you have established and agreed to a next step with your prospect, okay? So you've built some rapport, you've gathered some sales intelligence, and you've agreed to a next step with your prospect. Now, that next step might be another phone call. That next step might be a face-to-face meeting. That next step might be you sending a freight quote via email, but you've established a next step. So that's a quality conversation versus just a phone call or just a contact, right? There's a big difference. A quality conversation is usually something that is 5 to 7 to 10 to maybe even 15 minutes long versus a phone call where you speak to somebody and it might just be a 30, 60, 90-second conversation. It's hard to have a quality conversation or build rapport in 60 to 90 seconds, but it's not that hard in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Okay. So that's what I call a quality conversation. You want to track how many of those you have per day, per week, per month. That's the number one sales metric I want to share with you. Number 2, freight quotes. How many freight quotes are you providing for prospects? Okay. How many freight quotes are you providing for your prospects, for people that you're talking to, that you're doing business, that you're trying to do business with in your new customer acquisition funnel, right? So if you end the call with, I'm going to provide a freight quote, and then you go provide that freight quote, you want to track every freight quote that you provide, particularly as it relates to your new customer acquisition. Now, with your existing customers, you're going to be providing freight quotes all the time, but I'm focused more on your new customer acquisition. So these are metrics more geared towards your new customer acquisition. Okay. So now I'll explain that to you. So the second metrics you want to track is freight quotes. How many freight quotes you're providing. Okay. Number 3, how many new customers are you getting daily, weekly, monthly, right? So how many new customers? Now, just understand something. Customer, in my eyes, is defined as a shipper that has done at least one load with you, meaning they've given you a load, you've picked that load up on time, in good condition, and you've delivered it, right? So you have actually done at least one load for a shipper. That is what I define as a customer. A customer is not somebody that you just provided freight quotes to, or is willing to talk to you or do another call, or has allowed you to get set up with them as a vendor. They've actually given you freight. You've moving that freight. That's what I consider a customer. So you're going to want to track the number of customers you're generating daily, weekly, monthly. Okay. Number 4, obviously you're going to want to track sales and profit, right? So you're going to want to track your sales numbers and your profit numbers. Now, I created what I called a daily. So I would have a monthly sales goal and a monthly profit goal. And then I would back that out into the number of business days that I had. So for example, just simple math. If my profit goal was $10,000 for the month, and I knew that there was 20 work days in the month, that would mean my daily would be $500 in profit per day. So that would be my daily sales goal. And then I could ascertain my weekly and my monthly. Now, what I would do, as opposed to those goals, in conjunction with those goals, I would track my daily sales, my daily profit, my weekly sales, my weekly profit, and my monthly sales and my monthly profit. Okay. So that's number 4. Okay. Number 5 is win-loss ratio. Now, what I mean by win-loss ratio is not every quality conversation is going to lead to a quote, and not every quote is going to lead to a customer. Okay. But you can determine the ratio and your efficiency and your productivity level from a sales perspective based on the number of quotes that you're providing that are actually converting into customers. So for example, if you provide 10 freight quotes in a week to 10 different prospects, and out of those 10 freight quotes, you get 2 or 3 customers that you actually move freight for in maybe that week or the following week, that's an example of your ratio, right? Your win-loss ratio, or your conversion, your freight quote to customer conversion ratio, okay? So these are 5 metrics that I used regularly, okay? So I'm going to run through them really quick again. Number 1, quality conversations. Number 2, freight quotes. Number 3, new customers. Number 4, sales and profit, daily, weekly, monthly. And then number 5 is my win-loss ratio, right? The number of quotes versus the number of customers, okay? So if you track those 5, right, what you're going to notice is that ratios will appear. As a startup, you will have to make up for your lack of experience in numbers. But as you become more established and more experienced and more educated on the sales process and your customers and how to sell, and you tighten that your process down, your sales process, your customer acquisition process, those ratios are going to get better, right? And so you want to understand what are those ratios, because what that does is that allows you to build a huge amount of confidence. Because if you know that for every 10 quality conversations that you have with prospects, you're going to generate 1 or 2 customers. Now at that point, it becomes a machine. You can create a machine that generates new customers on demand based upon your existing sales process. So these KPIs can be very powerful. They're very important for you to track, because the things that get measured, right, are the things that improve. If you don't measure your sales efforts in some way, shape, or form, right, like these 5 that I just shared with you, most people just look at it as how much sales did I do? How much profit did I do? And that's great. Don't get me wrong, but you need to work it backwards. You need to focus in on quality conversations, freight quotes, because the fact is, if you're not doing freight quotes, if you're not getting to the point where prospects are allowing you to do freight quotes, you can't get new customers without freight quotes, because they can't say yes to you unless you give them some sort of value proposition that includes price, because that's going to be, it will be a determining factor as a part of that relationship. Okay. So quality conversations, freight quotes, new customers, sales and revenue and profit. And then last but not least, conversion ratio. Okay. So if you want a bonus, right here, I'm going to give you a bonus. Here's one more that we used to track that I think would be extremely powerful and important for you to track. So number 6, the bonus is referrals. How many referrals have you gotten from your existing customers? How many referrals have you gotten from people that you've had quality conversations with, or the relationship you have in your existing network, or from people that you're developing rapport and relationships with? How many referrals are you getting weekly and monthly? If you track that, that's another great KPI to track for your Freight Broker sales efforts, because obviously referrals are going to convert at a much higher ratio than cold calls or cold emails or LinkedIn outreach, or just in general cold or even warm outreaches, right? Because those referrals are extremely powerful. And that's definitely something you guys would want to track. Okay. So those are the 6. I said I was going to give you 5. I gave you a bonus, which is number 6, referrals. Those are 6 sales KPIs that every freight broker needs to track. If you guys enjoyed this, if you're enjoying this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you're curious, if you're just looking to get started and you need some help and you're trying to connect the dots, you've been searching on Google and reading some articles, and you've been on YouTube and you've been watching some videos. If you want a proven system where you can go from startup to start generating customers and building your brokerage or your freight agency, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee if for any reason you're not happy, okay? So I totally appreciate you guys being here. Again, make sure you like, comment, and share the stream. Make sure you join me every Monday. Normally, these are Mondays at noon for these free Freight Broker Live trainings. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in and for paying close attention. We're gonna probably do a quick giveaway, and then we're gonna go into live Q&A. Okay. So hold tight on the giveaway. Let me grab a quick drink here. But before we do that, let me ask you guys a question. I want to get some feedback from you. Hold on. Which of those 5 KPI, which of those 6 KPIs do you think is most important for a freight broker startup, someone that's just starting up? And this is just your opinion, okay? This is a safe space. No one's going to make fun of you. No one's going to yell at you. Nobody's going to, harass you. This is a safe space. Just let me know which of those 6 that I gave you, those 6 KPIs, do you think is the most important to freight broker startups? I'd love to get your 2 cents. I'd love to hear your piece of that. Gigi says quality conversations. Michael says quality conversations. Elisa says quality conversations. Wanda, quality conversations. Okay, good. Yeah, key performance indicators. Yeah, again, there was 6 of them. Quality conversations was number 1. Freight quotes was number 2. Number of new customers is number 3. Sales and profit is number 4. Conversion ratio, right? Win to loss ratio of quotes to new customers, that was number 5. And then referrals was number 6. What's your opinion? Quality conversations, sales and profit, new customers. Freight quotes says Kita. Paul Pardita says quality conversations. Michael Wiggins says referrals, number 6. Good. These are all important. I just wanted to get your 2 cents. Okay. One of the things that I like about this, where I distinguish, one of the distinguishing factors between my KPIs and a lot of KPIs that you'll hear is that quality conversations is something you never really hear, right? When I first started my freight brokerage, I used to track the number of phone calls and the amount of phone time that the salespeople would generate, right? So they might do 100 phone calls in a day, and they might generate 3 hours of phone time, actual time talking on the phone, right? This is when I built my sales team up. And so what I realized is that we were tracking the wrong things, because I really didn't care how many times they dialed the phone. I really didn't care how long they were on the phone as a whole. What I cared about was quality conversations. If they had 3 to 5 quality conversations in a day where they were spending 5, 10, 15 minutes with those customers, with those prospects, that was way more valuable than spending 30 to 60 seconds with 20 people. Because the reality is, if you can't build rapport and you can't gather some sales intelligence and you can't establish enough rapport to get a next step with the prospect, AKA quality conversation, then you're going nowhere fast, right? And then obviously it leads on to freight quotes and customers and conversion ratio and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. These are KPIs that you guys can track in your business very simply. Just track them every day, create a spreadsheet, track daily, weekly, monthly, and it'll be very simple for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, let's do a quick giveaway. All right. Let's do a giveaway of the Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone that solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. After the giveaway, I'm going to do a live Q&A. So stick around to the end if you have questions. Do not type your questions in the box right now, because I will not see them. We have to do the giveaway first, and then we'll do the Q&A. So hold off on your questions right now. We will get to them. Okay. So let's do a t-shirt giveaway. Here's all you got to do. Here's all you got to do. Let's see. Where is it? I'm looking for it. Hold on a second. All right, here it is. All you got to do is go to my YouTube channel. Some of you are already on my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/freightbrokers, or you can just search freightbrokerbootcamp.com. You'll see my bald, shiny head, and you'll see Freight Brokers is the name of the channel. Okay. Freight Broker Bootcamp is too long. They don't allow you to use that name, so I had to shorten up the name. But yeah, go to youtube.com/freightbrokers. And what I want you to do is click the subscribe button. And then I want you to click the all notifications bell. There's a bell, a little bell is going to pop up, and you click the all notifications bell. This is going to make sure you get notified every time I do a live. Every time I launch a new video, every time I do anything on that channel, you're going to get notified. And again, this is a free resource that everybody has access to. We have over 100 free freight broker training videos. I think it's probably closer to 150 now, right? Covering everything from customer acquisition to software, to setting up your office, to goal setting, to finding carriers, to rating, all kinds of sales training. There's tons of free information on there. My YouTube channel, my free YouTube channel has more information and more quality information and is better than what most freight broker training programs charge $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 for. Okay. I know that's a bold statement, but I promise you it's true, because most of them have never built a real freight brokerage of any size or scale. And, so that's a whole another topic I don't want to get into, but go to Freight Broker Bootcamp or go to the YouTube channel and then come back into the comments and let me know that you subscribed on YouTube and you hit the all notification bell. Subscribed on YouTube and hit the all notification bell. Okay. That's all you got to do. So subscribe and hit the all notification bell on YouTube and then come back into the comments and let me know that you guys have actually subscribed and hit the all notification bell on YouTube. And then I'm going to pick one winner. That winner is going to get the Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone who solves problems they don't know they have in ways they can't understand. Now, I do need to give this disclaimer and this caveat. You have to be in the United States in order to get this shirt. I apologize. I don't ship it internationally. It doesn't make sense to me to spend $50 shipping a shirt that's worth $25 internationally. Okay. So yes, you have to be in the United States in order to get the shirt. So if you subscribe to the channel, hit the all notifications bell, and then come back into the comments and let me know that you subscribed and hit the all notifications bell on YouTube, you will qualify for the giveaway. And then I'm going to give away one lucky winner is going to get the shirt. So what do we got? We got a bunch of people that are subscribed. Awesome. Done won't work, Michael. It's got to say subscribed on YouTube and hit the all notification bell. Okay. Just like Manova Solomon did, just like Jewel did, just like Bob did, just like Benny did. Awesome. All right. So subscribe on YouTube, hit the all notification bell. That's what qualifies you for this giveaway. And we're going to do that giveaway in give it about 1 minute. We're going to let a bunch of people subscribe, and then we're going to go into live Q&A. So stick around. We're going to do live Q&A. You can ask me anything about freight broker startup, about rating, about sales, about customer acquisition, about finding carriers, about anything you want related to, or more about the KPIs that I talked and shared with you today, those 5 metrics. We can dive into those a little bit. Okay. Hold off on your questions until after the giveaway. Right. Because I won't see them if you do it now. Right. And I'll miss them. And I don't want to miss your questions. So, all right, guys. So 30 more seconds to subscribe on YouTube and hit the all notifications bell. Come back in here. And then we're going to give away the Freightpreneur t-shirt. And then we're going to dive right into Q&A. Hold tight. I'm going to grab a quick drink. But again, youtube.com/freightbrokers. By the way, guys, pretty soon here, very soon, we should be breaking the 50,000 subscriber mark, right? We've got almost 50,000 subscribers on this channel. So it's really growing fast. People are really enjoying it. I get a lot of great feedback. I absolutely love working on the channel, developing new content, releasing new videos, releasing new trainings. The feedback is really amazing in the comments. If you go through some of the videos, they've got really good questions, lots of great comments, lots of great feedback. So I truly appreciate everybody who is a subscriber to that channel or who watches the videos. I know a lot of you have discovered me through YouTube. You were probably searching for freight broker training or some sort of freight broker related information, and that's how you found me. Kudos to you. And thank you so much for continuing on in this journey. I love helping people get started on their new business. All right, cool. All right. So here's the giveaway. We're going to do the giveaway. We're going to do the free t-shirt. I do it very non-scientific. I scroll down through the comments. I close my eyes and I randomly pick one person. And the person is Benny Delight. Benny Delight. Subscribed and hit the all notifications bell on YouTube. Benny Delight is the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Someone that solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. Here, Benny, here's all you got to do. Listen to get your prize. Go to my Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, like the page, and then message me through that page with your full name your address, your mailing address, as well as your size. This is a large. They run pretty true to size. It's unisex sizing. And that you won the YouTube Subscribe t-shirt giveaway. Okay. So your full name, your address, your size, and that you won the YouTube Subscribe t-shirt giveaway. Okay. And if you do that, we'll ship this out to you. You know, we'll process that order within 24 to 48 hours, and you will get that shirt typically within 1 to 2 weeks based on free shipping where you're located in the country. But you will get that shirt. Thank you so much, everybody, for playing along. Congratulations to Benny. Congratulations to the earlier winner. And if you guys want a chance to win, join me live on these. Join me early on these lives. I usually come on early and do some giveaways, and we chat, and I give some shout outs. But let's dive into the awesome Norberto. I love it. That's what I call a fan. I love it. 3 or 4 years. I love it. Thank you for continuing the support. I hope you're getting great value. It seems like you are. I don't think you'd show up if you weren't getting good value. So thank you, Norberto. All right, Benny, congrats. All right, let's jump into the Q&A, guys. If you have questions, jump into the comments right now. But before you type your question, be very clear on what the question you want answered and the feedback. Don't ask me a question like, how do I get customers? Way too general. Okay. You need to be very specific about your questions. If it's not a good question, I probably won't pick it, right? If it's too generic, too general, very hard to answer a general question like that in a format like this. So I will do my best to get to as many questions as I can. I definitely will not get to all of the questions. I promise you that. But I'll do my best. So let's dive in and see what we got. All right. So what do we got here? MMB has a question. Maisha, can you track these 6 KPIs in a CRM? And can you please recommend a good CRM? Okay. So you wouldn't track these KPIs in a CRM, probably. CRMs, these types of KPIs, these are more custom KPIs. You probably won't be able to track these in a CRM. You'll pull the sales and the profit data from your TMS. You may be able to pull new customer data from your CRM, customer relationship management software, because every time you convert a prospect to a customer, you can probably pull some sort of report on that. Quality conversations is something you might be able to set your CRM up to do to track. But if not, my suggestion to you is initially set up some sort of a basic spreadsheet that you fill out and complete every day, right? Just do a daily KPI rundown, right? Here's how many quality conversations I had. Here's how many quotes I did today. Here's how many new customers I had. Here's how much sales and profit. Here's how, you won't be able to necessarily track the conversion ratio, or the daily conversion ratio probably won't make sense, but weekly, monthly will. And then how many referrals. That's my suggestion. Keep it simple. Use a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet and just start tracking it that way. You'll probably pull the data from maybe your CRM and or your TMS and or just from your sales call log or from your activity log, right? So as far as a CRM, there's tons of CRMs out there. If you go to my blog, all right, if you go to my blog, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, and you search for software, right? There you have the ability to search the blog based on keyword. If you search for software, you'll find a post and a video that I did, I think, with the top 24 freight broker software you need. One of the categories is TMS. One of the categories is CRMs. One of the categories is load boards, and so on and so forth. But you can look for CRMs. I think I have, there's 5 or 6 that I recommend in there. I mean, HubSpot and a few others, but definitely check that out. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, search for the keyword or any keyword that you're looking for, and you should pull up some posts that are very relevant to that. So I hope that helps. Good question, Maisha. Okay. Okay, so here's a question from Brandon Paez. How can I leverage my LinkedIn to close with a customer? Also, if you can, which LinkedIn membership do you recommend for prospecting via LinkedIn? Okay, so let me read that again. How can I leverage my LinkedIn to close with a customer? Also, okay, got it. All right, so LinkedIn is an extremely powerful tool for two primary reasons. Number one, you can gather sales intelligence. Now, what I mean by sales intelligence is data that you can collect about your industry, about the company that you're prospecting, and about the individual prospect themselves, who they are, that contact. So you can gather sales intelligence. Now, sales intelligence is data, any piece of information that you can gather that enhances your opportunity to get a sale. So, for example, for example, your prospect just posted something. He put a post out on LinkedIn saying that he just got promoted to director of logistics or logistics manager, right? And all kinds of people are congratulating him. That sales intelligence is extremely powerful to help you build rapport, which will enhance your opportunity to get the sale. That's just one example. You can look at their profile. You can see the hobbies that they enjoy. You can see the groups they belong in. You can see their work history. You can see their educational history. You can see the posts that they, their posts, as well as posts that they engage with, like, comment, and share. There's lots of information you can gather from LinkedIn that will enhance your opportunity to get the sale, right? Plus, it gives you an opportunity to message them. You can connect and then message them through the platform. So those are some of the reasons why LinkedIn can be so powerful. Now, as far as the type of membership that you need, LinkedIn has a free membership that anybody can get, which has certain capabilities, which are more than enough to get started. Now, if you start running into situations where you're not able to access prospects, or you're limited in the number of searches you can do, or things of that nature, then that's when you may want to bump up to a more of like a sales navigator or some of the different paid memberships, which give you enhanced capabilities and enhanced reach. But I would suggest you start with a free program. Start with their free membership, which is where I started, and then grow from there. If you start hitting your head on the ceiling of the capabilities, then you can always expand and get a paid membership. They have different memberships ranging from maybe from very low cost up into higher cost, like every other subscription type business, right? A SaaS type product. So I hope that helps. Good question though. Okay, so here's a question from Ryan. What are systems in place that can help you to track your progress, like KPIs you just brought up? Well, a CRM is one. Maisha, we addressed this in the first question by Maisha. CRM will help you track them. Your TMS will help you track them. And a Excel or a Google spreadsheet will help you track them. Those are some of the basic systems. My suggestion is you track these every day. So have a piece of paper that you track, just a written piece of paper, number of quality conversations, the number of quotes that you did, the number of new customers you got, right? And then your sales and profit for the day. That's very easy for you to track, especially as a startup, right? If you need to validate or get additional numbers, you can always go to your CRM and possibly gather some data. If you need some additional sales or revenue data, then you might also go to your TMS. But those are the basic systems that you would use to track those KPIs and manage those KPIs. This should literally take less than 5 minutes a day. Okay, tracking these KPIs is not a half an hour process. It'll take you 5 minutes every day. Okay, so here's a question. Adrian Calderon says, does a freight broker make its money by upcharging the customer or taking a cut from the carrier? Okay, freight brokers are a middleman that manage the relationship and manage the freight between shippers and carriers. Now, they are not on commission. They don't get paid commission by the carrier. What they do is they pay the carrier the agreed upon carrier rate, and then they mark that rate up based upon their service, whatever service they want to add on top of it, whatever it costs. So for example, let's say, for example, you need to move a load from point A to point B, and you find out that it's going to cost you $1,000 for a carrier from point A to point B. You may add $100, $150, $250 on top of that based upon, whatever margins you're going to set based upon all kinds of variables. But ultimately, most of those margins typically fall between 10 and 20% profit. So you may add, on average, you're probably going to add somewhere between $100 to $200 on top of that. That's the rate that you're going to submit to and sell to the shipper. And then that's the rate that you would bill the shipper. So if you billed the shipper $1,200, you paid the carrier $1,000, you made $200 in profit. You didn't cost the carrier anything because you ultimately paid them the agreed upon rate that they agreed to. And that's the basic framework of how it works. Good question, Adrian. Okay, so here's a question from Markel Cox. I recently started my freight brokerage. Should I hire an agent to help me with the workload starting up your brokerage? Well, Markel, I guess it depends upon what is the workload. You're a startup. How much workload do you have? As a startup, the majority of your time is probably going to be spent selling, right? You're going to be doing outreach. So my suggestion to you is start building the business based upon you doing it, you playing all those roles and developing those systems and developing those skills. A lot of people think that as a startup, you're going to go out and hire salespeople or agents to grow the business for you. And that's just not real. Okay. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not real. Number one, it can get expensive. Number two, it's very time consuming to hire, train, and manage people. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but my suggestion to you as a freight broker startup is you start developing your own sales system, which includes your outreach, how to do quotes, how to do follow-up, and then eventually how to get those loads and manage those loads and service those loads from pickup through delivery. And then from there, you're going to need to learn how to do the invoicing and all that, right? So once you get those systems moving along, and once you start moving some freight and getting some customers and you start getting your feet under you, start generating a little bit of profit, sure, you can reinvest some of that into hiring staff, employees, or possibly agents. I'm not big on hiring agents as a startup because what do you really have to offer? A new agent as a freight broker who's brand new? Probably not a whole lot. You don't have a brand. You don't really have a credit established. You don't have good systems established. You don't really have a whole lot to offer as a startup. What I did, I'll tell you my personal story. When I started my freight brokerage, I did inside freight brokerage where everybody was an employee working inside my company, more like a call center, for 3 years before I hired my first agent. Now, I knew I was going to go the agent route, but I also knew I had to build my credit. I had to build my systems. I had to build my brand. I had to build all of those internal processes that you need in order for a business to run and to have like a well-oiled machine. And it doesn't normally have to take 3 years, but a year or 2 or 3 really allows you to iron out all the wrinkles, right? And to figure it out, especially as a startup. I had zero experience in freight brokerage, logistics, transportation, trucking, or otherwise. You probably know more right now than I did when I first got started back in 2003. So it took me a little bit of time, but year one, we did 1.2 million in sales. And year two, we did 3.6 million in sales. And then year three, we did over 6 million in sales. So we were growing. And then I launched the agent model. We went from 6 million to 12 million to 18 million to 30 million to 50 million to on and on and on, right? So yeah, so that's my suggestion. I hope that helps. Okay, I think I understand your question, Joel. Okay, so with freight quotes, With freight quote steps, should you cut off rate quote requests after a specific time? I'm not really sure I understand your question. Now, you're going to continue to talk to a prospect as long as they're willing to talk with you and you've qualified them in order to get a quote. Sometimes it could take you weeks, months, or years for them to open up enough. Now, you're not going to be talking to them every day for that period of time. But I would continue to talk to somebody that you believe is a good prospect that you've built rapport with, even if they haven't given you a quoting opportunity. But usually those quoting opportunities will happen fairly quick. But I wouldn't automatically shut a prospect out. Our conversations may become less frequent. They won't be daily or weekly. But I would continue to follow up with that prospect with the hopes and the goal of getting them as a customer, and a quote is going to be a part of that process. So I hope that's the question you're asking. I'm not sure. If not, hit me up back here and clarify. Rajinder asks, are things like Zoom info needed for finding the correct contact to all of the contact info, or can it be done successfully by Googling? Well, you can find a lot of the contact information by Googling, but it will save you an enormous amount of time if you invest in tools like Zoom Info. So yes, you can get a lot of prospect data, customer data, contact information, who the person is that makes the decision, or someone in that department in shipping logistics, by Googling and just doing some searches online and LinkedIn. But it will be a lot faster and a lot more efficient and a lot more productive if you have the resources to invest in tools like a Zoom Info. That's just one example, right? So they are a site that provides data predominantly to sales and marketing teams where they can use that data to start doing their outreach. But it's not cheap. So it depends on if you have the budget. A lot of people will start using free tools like LinkedIn and Google, and then once they start generating some profit, they'll invest in better tools. Okay, so here's a question from Elisa. How do you get over your fear of outreach? Once introduced, I'm great, but the initial call email makes me want to throw up. Yes, I'm very new to this. Okay. Alicia, you're just like everybody else. I've told the story before. When I got hired in my first sales job in 1992, I was self-proclaimed the absolute worst salesperson they had ever hired in the history of the company. I was terrible. I have no idea why they hired me. And I definitely don't know why they didn't fire me in the first week, but they didn't. But I was bad. I was horrible. I did not want to pick up the phone. I remember, and this was mainly phone sales. Okay. And I remember, my first day, I think I made like a half a dozen calls all day long, and it was terrifying. I was still in college. I hadn't even graduated from college yet. I think this was March of 92. I wasn't graduating until May. And so I was terrified. But what I came to realize was this. Over time, this is what I came to realize, and this is what I think you have to understand. Everybody's bad before they're good. Now, think about that for a second. Everybody is bad before they're good. I don't care if you're talking about sports, right? The top athletes in the NFL, the NBA, the UFC, in Major League Baseball, they were all bad before they were good. When they first started that sport, they were terrible. But over time, they progressed and they got better. So whether that's sports, or whether that's marketing, or whether that's sales, or whether that's whatever the case may be, everybody's bad before they're good. So you have to understand that. We all start in the same place. I started right where you are. I was afraid to pick up the phone. So first, the mindset you have to understand is that everybody's bad there before they're good. So don't worry, right? It's a learnable skill. It's something that you can learn. All right. Number two, the mindset you need to take, and that will help you shift, kind of have a little bit of a paradigm shift, is rather than focusing on selling, I want you to focus on serving. Now, some people are going to think that's a little hokey, But selling versus serving is a mindset that you have to understand. Selling is all about you. You're making that all about you. I need to sell them so I can get money. Serving is all about them, right? So the intent is very different, and the conversations that you will have will feel very different to your prospects. Okay. So that's the second thing you can do. Number 3, here's what I can tell you. You have to break through the first 20, 30, 50 conversations. They're going to be painful. There's going to be some pain involved, but you have to get uncomfortable and you have to go through that pain. Here's what I can tell you. If you stay in your comfort zone where you are right now, there's 0 chance of success. And I'm being very realistic. There's 0. You have to get out of your comfort zone, right? Success in anything is getting out of your comfort zone. The comfort zone that you have to break through as a new freight broker, especially in sales, is you have to get through the first 20, 30, 40, 50 calls. And here's what I promise you. You will be better on your 10th call than you were on your first call. And you'll be better on your 50th call than you were on your 10th call. And that progress will lead, to you learning and progressing, right? What you have to understand is that competence creates confidence. Okay. So the more competent you feel based on this learning process, the more confident you will be. All right. So those are a few things that I wanted to share with you to try to help get you in the right mindset so that you can break through. I hope that helps. Yes, the session is recorded, Lisa. So you will be able to get this on replay on YouTube. You'll be able to get it replayed on Facebook. So after this, you'll be able to catch the replay for sure. If I don't answer your question, there's a good chance that I may have already answered it in a previous question, or it's not clear enough. All right. Terry Carter asks, should I hire agents if you work full-time? I wouldn't determine hiring agents based on full-time, if you're full-time or part-time. I would determine hiring agents based upon your readiness to hire, train, and support someone that's very new to the industry. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're a startup freight broker, and you try to go out and compete for experienced agents, people who have a lot of experience, unfortunately, as a startup, you don't have a lot to offer them. You don't have a brand. You don't have systems, right? You don't have credit. You don't have a large carrier base. You don't have social proof. You don't have a lot of marketing. You don't have any of that, right? So as a startup, it's going to be very hard for you to attract established agents with a book of business. You'll have to, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to entertain brand new people to the industry, which is going to require a lot of time for recruiting and hiring and training and supporting them. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but what I'm saying is you got to have the right systems and the right products set up in order to do that. I answered a question earlier where I told everybody, I didn't hire my first agent for 3 years. Now, did I have to wait 3 years? Probably not. I probably could have started hiring them after the first year and not had a huge problem because we did over $1 million in sales. So I could have attracted people. We had developed some systems and we had learned the basic framework of what was going on. But I held off for 3 years because I wanted to make sure I had the right product in place. And what I mean by product is I had the right company, the right systems, the right program in place in order to attract the right people to my organization. So I wouldn't determine hiring agents based upon whether you're part-time or full-time. I would base it on your readiness to hire, train, and support people that are brand new to the industry. Because I can promise you it's very time consuming. And if you think brand new agents to the industry are going to go out and build your business for you, it's a huge mistake. You need to go out and build your business And then you can develop a product that allows you to offer an opportunity to new or established agents that will help enhance and grow your business. But agents are not going to grow your business. You're going to have to grow your business. So I hope that helps. Paul, no, I don't. I don't have a specific step-by-step video on drayage. I don't have a specific video on that, but drayage is relatively the same, right? You're picking up from a port or you're delivering to a port. You know, there's some nuances in there, but it's relatively the same. Okay, so here's a question from Adrian. I have about 3 years in 3PL logistics industry. Congrats. I'm networking with carriers that show up to pick up or drop off. I have some capital saved up. When is a good time to quit and start my brokerage? So when do you take the leap? Well, Adrian, it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. Number one, you've got some experience. That's going to help you a lot because you already speak the lingo. You already understand the processes and you understand a lot of the nuance associated with picking up and delivering freight on time, right? You understand that. So check. Next, you've been networking with carriers. So you already understand how to develop relationships and what carriers want and what carriers don't want. And you have a small network of those carriers. Check. Number three, you've also you have saved up some money, right? You saved up some capital because you understand that day one, week one, maybe even month one, you may have little or no cash flow in your business and you need to have what they call a runway, right? A runway is something that allows you in that startup phase to have little or no cash flow so you have enough money to continue to live your life, pay your bills, and not get behind the eight ball in debt while you're building your business. So if you've saved some money that allows you to do that, that's great. Eventually, you're going to have to make the decision to leap. My suggestion to you is look at how much cash you've saved up. Look at the cost of getting set up either as a freight broker or a freight agent. And I don't want you to discount starting as a freight agent because it can be one of the faster and easier ways to get started generating cash flow because it's a lot easier and less expensive than starting as a freight broker. So I want you to look at those costs. Do I want to become a freight broker? Do I want to become a freight agent? Compare those costs, see how far you think that runway will last you in order to get your first few customers. My suggestion for you is you're going to probably want 30, 60, 90 days of runway for cash flow in order to really make sure that, that you're in a good position for success. Now, some people have a spouse that works. So if you're able to leave your job, they can continue to pay the bills and have the basic necessities. Maybe you won't have all the extra niceties because you're going to invest that in your business. That's a sacrifice that you make. But and if you don't have that, then you need to make sure that maybe you've got a couple months of rent or a couple months of your mortgage and some of your basic bills saved up in such a way that as well as your startup costs, that's not going to cause you an enormous amount of pain. But here's what I'm going to tell you. There is no perfect time. Okay, it doesn't exist. Stop focusing on perfect. I want you to focus on progress. You've made some progress up to this point, but here's what I want you to understand. You can't steal second with your foot on first. So what I mean by that is you're going to have to take some risk. In order for you to go from first to second, I'm giving you a baseball analogy, all right? But in order for you to go from first to second, steal it, you're going to have to take a lead off. So there's going to be some risk. But here's what I know. Don't get caught up in paralysis by analysis. You've done a lot of the legwork. At some point, make the decision, set a date, make that commitment, and go forward. You can always take everything that you've learned up to this point. If, God forbid, anything were to happen, you can always go back into the old industry, maybe not your old employer. But if you leave on good terms, maybe you can go back to your old employer. Maybe you can parlay that into another or better position if, God forbid, it didn't work out. But with everything that you've got in place, I think you're set up to succeed, and I'm sure you'll do great. Question from Richard Roca. Can a freight broker work part-time at building his company? Yes, you can. But I can tell you, you can work, ideally you work full-time. You can work part-time, but you can't work in your spare time. What I mean by that is if you think you're going to spend, 3 or 4 or 5 hours a week building your freight brokerage, it's probably not going to work, and it's probably not worth your investment to do that. But if you can spend 3 or 4 hours a day working on your freight brokerage part-time while you're driving or while you're working another career or whatever the case may be, okay, you can start to build your business that way. It's going to be slower and it's going to be harder, but it can be done. I know agents and brokers that have started part-time and built a successful business. Now, the key is you're going to need to be able to work during normal shipping hours, which is typically, let's call it maybe from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's a pretty wide range. That's about 10 hours. Most of it happens during that time, Monday through Friday. There's a little bit of shipping that goes on the weekends, but it's sometimes hard to get people on the phone. So Monday through Friday, maybe let's call it from 7 to 5 is the typical time. You're going to need 1 or 2 or 3 hours a day to dedicate to that. In order to really consider what I would say part-time. Hope that helps. MMBS, what's the likelihood you give a quote and the shipper doesn't use you? There's a high likelihood. A couple of reasons. Number one, you haven't built enough trust. Number two, the rate is either too high or too low, and they don't trust you because you're quoting them below what they're getting charged right now, and they don't have a trust level because they don't know how you're able to do that, or it's too high. See, the thing about rating is that it's easy to be the highest, the most expensive. It's easy to be the cheapest. It's hard to find the sweet spot. Okay, the sweet spot is typically $50, $100, maybe up to $200 more than they're already paying. Okay. And then you sell the value on their above and beyond what they're paying, because if they're asking you for a quote, it's telling you that they're probably not 100% happy with the vendor that's providing them the service on that lane. Okay. That's a buying signal. If they're asking for a quote, it means they're not 100% happy. And so, yeah, not all quotes are going to convert. But I would tell you that if you do a good job on building rapport, gathering sales intelligence, and you learn how the sales process and you learn how to quote effectively, it's not unusual for you to get 2 or 3 or 4 out of 10 quotes. Okay. It's not unusual to do that if you do a good job at that. If you don't do a good job at that, you might be getting more like 1 out of 10 or less. Okay. So I hope that helps. So here's a question from Begus Butter. Can I start calling shippers while FMCSA is pending validation? You can start calling shippers if you choose, but I personally don't recommend it. Here's why. Because number one, you can't provide service to a customer until you have a valid authority. Okay. Number two, if they ask you to get set up as a vendor, let's say you're 3 weeks out on getting your brokerage set up. Okay. The FMCSA, you got a few weeks left, and they say, okay, great. Send us over all the information. Send us your authority. Send us all this information. Send us everything you need, all the setup stuff. And you can't send it because you don't have an active authority. That's going to decrease trust. That's going to lower your trust level in their eyes, because they're like, they may not have even known you were a startup until you brought that out, right? And so it's not going to build trust. Now, what you could do is you could continue to develop your skills. Now, what I would suggest, rather than starting the sales process, I would start doing due diligence on your niche, start understanding the rates, start building carrier relationships, start developing your sales skills, start developing your lead list. Those sorts of things can be very powerful, because once you do get your authority validated by the FMCSA, at that point you can hit the ground running. So those are all preparation things you can do in advance. You can start calling if you choose. Some people have done that. Matter of fact, I had a guest on the podcast, Steve Gaddisy, who just launched his brokerage this year and is doing really well. I think he hit 6 figures last month. And he started calling right out of the box. It didn't hurt him, but me personally, it wouldn't be something that I would personally recommend. Okay. All right. There's a sales manager. Okay, that's too hard of a question. All right, I'm scrolling. I'm looking for questions here. Okay, so Benny asked, do you have a one-on-one mentorship program? If yes, how can one participate? Okay, so I have two primary programs. One is my Freight Broker Bootcamp, which is my online startup program. That's all online. There's no one-on-one mentoring. There's no coaching. I do these live calls where I do Q&A, but it's online. It's very inexpensive. You can get started for as little as $185. That is mainly for new startups. Okay. You go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com to check that out. Now, I do have another program, which is called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. That is a hybrid program where it's a group coaching program and a group mentoring program, as well as an online course. Now, that program is sold out right now. I just sold it out a couple of weeks ago. We won't offer that again for a while, but if you're interested in me coaching you, me being your mentor, where we can actually talk one-on-one, and I can help share that piece of my brain about how to get customers freight broker sales and work with you for 5 weeks, here's what I suggest. You need to get on the wait list. Let me see if I can pull it up here. All right. You need to go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. That will allow you to get notified when I open up the next enrollment of my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, because I limit it to 100 students at a time. Okay. We sold that out in less than a week. That was a few weeks ago. And that is a paid program that I've been offering for close to a year now. I think I've had 400 or 500 students go through that program. It's by far the best program I've ever put together. But I do not do one-on-one, but this is the closest thing to it, the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It doesn't cost you anything to get on the wait list. You can just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. You'll get notified when I open up enrollment. So you'll at least have a chance to know about that, because it sells out super quick. So I hope that helps. All right, I'm going to do one more question. Okay, here's a question I get all the time. Ozan asks, which one should come first, reaching a shipper or a carrier? The answer is both. But I will tell you that when I started, my focus, I did due diligence on my niche. I identified and did research on load boards for my niche, which was Northeast outbound van freight at the time. Okay. So I did understand rating. I understood some of the carriers that were doing business there, and I did do a little bit of relationship building with some of those carriers. But my focus was heavily on getting shippers. So I spent 80% of my time focused on getting shippers and 20% of my time getting carriers. Because the fact is, just because you develop a relationship with a carrier, it doesn't mean that he's going to be able to support or service the shipper that you get, or the quotes that you have, or the lanes that you get from new shippers, right? If you find a shipper who has one truck and that truck is in the Southeast and all your loads are originating in the Northeast, it doesn't matter if you have a great relationship with him. If his equipment is not in position to start doing business, to support you, right, and to support your customer needs, it won't matter. So I spent the majority of the time focusing on shippers after I did the due diligence on my niche and understood, the load to truck ratio and some of the cost basis and what was going on in that specific niche. So I'd suggest you do the research, but I spent the majority of my time focused on shippers. But I did continue to develop relationships with carriers and enhance my network of carriers and my understanding of cost and where the trucks were and lead times and all of that. So I hope that helps. And that's going to be it for today. We're going to wrap it up. If you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker, okay, or a freight agent, just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade. I have personally done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. I can't make it any easier than that. If you guys want to be a part of the next Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, right, which is where I take that piece of my brain, everything about freight broker sales and customer acquisition, and I share with you my best strategies, tactics, and systems, my entire system for growing that brokerage from a sales perspective, and you want to be a part of the next Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, you got to go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. If you get on the wait list, you will get notified. Now, it doesn't guarantee your spot, but it guarantees you'll get notified when I open it up. And at that point, you'll have a chance to enroll. Thank you, everybody, for joining me live today. Truly appreciate it. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And the cost of admission here for everybody that's still on this live feed is share the stream. Click the share button. I don't care if you're on YouTube and you share it via text with 3 people. I don't care if you're on Facebook and you just share it with your feed. Share it on Twitter. Share it on LinkedIn. Do me a favor. That's the price of admission. It costs you nothing for this free training today. I didn't ask you for a credit card. I didn't ask you for a dime. But if you want me to continue to come and do these free trainings every week, week after week, like I have for years now, make sure you like, comment, and share the stream. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. And I'll see you next Monday with the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live.